Welcome to Greek for a Week. We are looking at a new paragraph beginning this week in the book of First Thessalonians. So we've started chapter 4, verses 1 through 8 will be the paragraph. And we're going to look at the first two verses, verses 1 and 2. They seem to go together. Even though verse 1 is quite long, I thought we would put verse 1 and verse 2 together, namely because of the gar here in verse 2. So Paul says, finally, therefore, brethren, we ask and we exhort you in the Lord Jesus, that as you have received from us how it is necessary for you to walk and to please God, just as also you do walk, that you abound more. For you know what commandments we gave to you through the Lord Jesus. So we have a couple of things here that I wanted to make note of. Of course, the therefore I would contend, as well as the address adelphoi. So both of those basically bring us to a new section of the letter, and that new section would be the ethical instruction section, what I call the EI, ethical instruction. Some still consider this part of the body, which is fine. You can consider this part of the body of the letter. But nonetheless, Paul here obviously is making an exhortation. He says, we ask, so the erotomen is first person plural, present active indicative of erotao. You also have parakalumen. This also is a first person plural, present active indicative of parakaleo. Then I took the en curio Jesu. I took that as a dative of means. So I think here Paul is exhorting them. He's asking and encouraging them through the means of the Lord Jesus. And then the content of that is that just as you have received from us. And then he continues, and basically what I would contend here brings two infinitives, the peripatein and the areskein. Both of those follow the day. It is necessary. So these two infinitives I'm contending are complementary infinitives. It is necessary to do what? So they complete the thought of the verb. Some also take the two infinitives as a hendiades, that Paul is asking them and encouraging them to have a pleasing walk. I think that's also possible. And then he concludes this verse with a hina, basically that you would abound more. And I think that hina there is purpose. Then he begins verse 2 again with a gar. So here is the reason, if you will, to have a pleasing walk. He says, you know. Okay, you know what? Well, you know that we gave something to you that was the commandments. So the edokamen, first person plural, aorist active indicative of didomi. So we gave something to you, and we gave it through the Lord Jesus, which, again, the through there could be agency or source. Typically, dia plus the genitive would be agency. So here Paul, again, is setting up this entire paragraph that it's built on an exhortation. It's built on an ask or a request or a question that we are asking of you. and that is that you would have this really, namely here, that you would have this pleasing walk before God. Ultimate purpose that it would abound to more and more. This pleasing walk would abound to more and more. Reason number one to have this pleasing walk is because we gave the commandments to you. He's also going to give some more reasons in verse 3 and in verse 7. So it'll take us a little while to build out verses 1 through 8. So have a good week. That was verses 1 and 2.